Alright guys, so this is actually an announcement for my AP European History Kids as well as the AP World History Kids Modern. These are some of the updates that College Board went ahead and released on Friday, so I'm just going to kind of give you a quick overview about what those things are. So there's no assignment surrounding this PowerPoint, it's just some updates that were presented from College Board. So a couple of things. The dates and the timing have changed. So AP European is going to go first. Their exam is going to be on Wednesday, May 13th, held at 3 p.m. And so you're going to have to log in at that very specific time. I believe on the website there's more information about how to do these things. And as we get closer to the date, we will kind of go through more detailed steps on what that looks like. But I know they are recommending that you at least log in about 30 minutes before so that you aren't having any trouble logging in as it gets closer to the exact time frame in which the test is going to start. So AP European History, Wednesday, May 13th. It's going to cover units 1 through 7. That did not change, so the same thing. It's going to specifically only go over that time frame. AP World History Modern, that test is Thursday, May 21st at 1 p.m. Same thing. They are suggesting that you log in about 30 minutes before to make sure that there's no problems loading the exam or anything like that. The information that's going to be covered for AP World Modern is the same also that I mentioned in the previous presentation. It's only units 1 through 6, and it's going to be a modified exam. So the exam timing is going to run about 45 minutes. That's going to give you enough time to read and respond to the DBQ question. I'm smiling because it was my impression that because of the timing, it was either going to be an LEQ or 3 SAQs. Because DBQs normally are an hour, but it's a modified DBQ, so it's going to be something totally different. So that's what happens when we assume, guys. We can't always be reliable on that. And so I was wrong. It is a DBQ question. What they are going to do is they're going to ask you a question about anything from units 1 through 6. Then you're going to have the 45 minutes to be able to read the documents, come up with a written response. You're either going to be able to type that or you're going to have to write it out on paper, and then you're going to have to kind of take a screenshot it or scan it and upload it. And so you'll have 45 minutes to do the reading and the responding, which is the writing part, and then you'll have 5 minutes, a 5-minute window to actually upload the entire writing piece. So you want to make sure that you are being very aware of your time. With that being said, you need to make sure that you have a reliable internet access during this time for these testing time frames. So if there is another issue that comes up, you need to let me know before then or ahead of time so that everybody is on the same page and we can get all these tests done immediately and in the right manner, I guess you can say. So a little bit about what that's going to look like, and this is the same for AP European History and for World History. So my European History kids and my World History kids, it's the same rubric. So it's a modified rubric. Normally a DBQ is only worth 7 points. This DBQ is going to be worth 10 points. You'll be asked a question. You're going to be given 5 historical sources. One of those sources is going to be non-text based. So what that means is that 4 of them are going to be like the little mini paragraphs that you guys are used to reading, and then one of them is either going to be a picture, a graph, some kind of visual, or something else that it is not, that you have to read. You're going to have to look at it and use strategies to figure out what the picture, what the graph, what the chart, whatever it is trying to tell you guys. Alright, so really quickly through the breakdown on how you can earn these 10 points. Remember, our goal is always to work smarter, not harder. So, easy point thesis, that's in your introduction. Easy point contextualization, that's also in your introduction. We covered that in the long essay question assignment on Friday. So those are 2 easy points that you guys can easily get. Again, those are both found in the introduction, and we'll talk more about them in detail as we do more DBQ practice. Normally, when using documents for a DBQ, you're given 7. In this case, you're only going to be given 5. And so because you're given less documents, you also have to use less documents. So you have to use a minimum of 4 documents. These documents have to support an argument. So that means that you cannot just throw them on there. You cannot just randomly quote them and just dump them on the paper. You're going to have to pretty much very, very closely to an FRQ, an SAQ response. You're going to have to give an answer about a document. You're going to have to paraphrase or explain what the document is saying. And then you're going to have to go into detail about other aspects of the document. And so we'll get into them as we get more into the rubric. The other thing is that also normally you're only awarded 1 point for using outside information. In this case, you're going to be awarded, or you could be potentially awarded, 2 points for outside information. And this is really cool because sometimes you guys know a lot of random facts, especially because I give you guys a lot of random facts. And some of you are knowledgeable in and of itself, that you know a lot of things about history and how things are connected and how things are joined, and other ways that you can get your points across. And so if you reference anything outside of the documents, and if you mention at least 2 different examples, you can earn 2 points. Those are easy points in my opinion. Next, you're going to have to use HIP for at least 2 of the documents. HIP was a strategy that we used all year to talk about in terms of analyzing documents. You're going to have to talk about the historical context, the intended audience, the point of view, or the purpose. Purpose is probably the one that people focus on because it's a little bit easier, I feel. But to each his own. For whatever ones you do, that's fine. If you want to use HIP for all 4 documents just to be on the safe side, be my guest. That's a good way to format your paragraphs, and we'll get into more practice as we get closer again to the test date. The very, very last one is going to be the complexity point. I'm actually really grateful that this is only worth 1 point because this one is usually the hardest one. It's when you have to talk about a similarity, a difference, a cause and effect, continuity and change over time, connections across time periods, or things from multiple perspectives or multiple variables. What makes it the complexity point is that it has to be pretty much from the beginning of your paper all the way to the end. So you can't just randomly throw me 1 similarity and 1 difference. If you're going to make that argument, it's going to have to be somewhere probably in your introduction and your thesis, and you're going to have to carry that thought or those ideas all the way throughout your entire paper. So that does usually tend to be the hardest one to achieve, and so I'm really glad that's actually only 1 point. That's it as far as the updates go. So it's going to be a DBQ. You're going to have 5 documents. You have to use 4. You have to use HIP. And if you put information from the outside of the documents, anything outside information of the documents that's relevant to the question, you get another 2 extra points. So remember, our goal is to earn as many points as possible. If you guys have any more questions, you can feel free to call me or email me at any time. And that's pretty much it. So those are the updates. Again, if you also Google AP College Board COVID or AP exam updates for 2020, the information is up there on the websites. The modified rubric is up there on the websites. The testing times and dates and stuff like that are also on there. I know they're giving an optional window to try and test June, the first week of June. My only thing with that is that technically the school year will already be over. And the closer that this information is in your head, the easier it'll probably be for you to retain that information. So simple version is that the sooner you take it, the better, because the information will just be something that's in the forefront and something you're thinking about. If you put it off and you're like, I'll just take it later, you're probably going to slack off and maybe forget a lot of information. So if you do have any more questions, please feel free to contact me. See you guys later. Bye. Okay, stop.